Hey, we're live. Let me refresh YouTube to make sure we are indeed live and the audio is good. No, the audio is bad. Let me fix the audio 1 second.
Okay. Five, one, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, we have audio issues. Okay, it's better. Getting better and better. Much better. Better. Much better. Okay. Audio is good. Let's begin. We don't have much time. We basically have, I would say, about half an hour. Okay, so hopefully we can do this fast. I have a bunch of conclusions that I'd like to discuss. Okay, the Michelson-Morley's not thought experiment, but experiment had a big gaping blind spot that I discovered that it doesn't matter because I think I mean, either way, it should have been invariant to the ether. So either way, it should not have discovered the ether. But one thing about the ether, they didn't think through all the possibilities. So the Michelson Morley, they assume that there is a sun. Oh, very nice. Let's use black. So undo. All right. There's one more undo. Okay. So here we have the sun, and here we have the orbit of the Earth, and let's say here we have the Earth. Very nice. So Michaels and Morley, they said that the ether seems to be blowing somehow. Maybe it's like wind. It's blowing this way or this way or this. It's like solar wind. They imagined it like some sort of cosmic wind or solar wind or anything of that sort. So if this is, let's imagine how they imagined this is the Earth. They lived, I don't know, somewhere in the US. I think they were, or maybe in England. So they were probably living in the upper half of the planet, on the northern half. So they were probably midway, like somewhere here. And this is important because it looks like a person. Because the way they imagined it, and the way everyone since them and before them imagined it, no one has ever contested the experiment, conducting the conduction of the experiment. They thought, okay, maybe the ether is blowing this way, or maybe the ether is blowing this way, or it's blowing some like it's blowing through the earth, past the earth, whichever way it's blowing and however fast, right? They thought, well, we can capture it wherever we are. So let's now zoom in to how we're going to do this. Well, they're over here, right? The Earth is a sphere or a ball. So they're over here somewhere. So let's say here is the ground, and this is, let's say, the building. The building has some parts of it are underground, some parts are overground. Let's say I think they went underground to avoid noises and whatever. So they over here they were, let's say, on the very ground floor, and here is the table. Let's maybe magnify this. I wish it would magnify to where my pencil is. So here they are, very nice. This is the table on which they place the apparatus. So the apparatus, wait, didn't I change color? Let's change color. So they had an apparatus. The apparatus was over here, very nice. All right, let's zoom out and build the apparatus. So here is a side view of the apparatus. So the apparatus consisted of a fluid, metal fluid. I forgot the name of the metal fluid. So this is filled with metal fluid. What's the name of the fluid? Wait, am I sharing? Yeah, I'm sharing. What is the name of the fluid that we use? Metal. Well, there's only very few metal liquids. Metal liquid. Liquid. I forgot the D. Come on. Liquid metal. Um, Mercury. So they were using, I don't know why, they were using mercury as the liquid metal in which they suspended the actual apparatus. So the apparatus was being suspended in liquid metal. The reason for the suspension of the liquid metal, I think, is to avoid any noises so that right, it wouldn't shake. They were trying to avoid the shaking because the shaking would give you an interference pattern, maybe. So they didn't want any shaking. Okay. And fine, that's all I wanted to say. What is the problem with this apparatus? And I never heard of anyone complain about this apparatus. So even if ether is blowing through, they would never have, and let's assume they would have been able to discover it through this apparatus. This apparatus, Lorentz proved that this apparatus is Lorentz invariant. It is ether invariant. This apparatus would have failed if ether would have blown from any direction. Lorentz already proved that this apparatus would not have noticed it. But this apparatus is only good for the blowing only from horizontal blowing. They were assuming that the blowing is horizontal, right? So anyway, right, if this is the planet, it blows through the planet, but they assumed that they're going to catch it one way or the other. They rotated the apparatus about this apparatus. If we have a top view of the apparatus, this is the top view of the apparatus, right? It was circular, and with four, well, with all the mirrors, not four. There's a detector. There's a source of light, right? There's a source of light and a detector. Let's say this is the detector. This is halfway mirror, full mirrors, half mirror. All right. So this is oh, it's half mirror, so it should be like this. Okay. So this is right. So they rotated it about so that if the wind is blowing this way, they would somehow get an interference, or if it's blowing this way, whichever way it's blowing horizontally, they would have gotten, so they thought, a result, a non-null result, like some interference pattern. Okay, so we know that Lorentz proved, as far as I know, that it would never have worked. Fine, but even, but let's assume it would have worked. But the ether wasn't blowing horizontally. And you know where I'm going, right? Because I believe the ether is actually blowing vertically. Because I believe the ether is literally gravity. Gravity is the flow of the ether into the planet. Ether is what is blowing right now through us at 6 meters per second, and is giving us this feeling that we're being sucked into the ground. And the apple falls from the tree because the ether flows through it. So the apple is sucked into the ground. And the moon is, the ether flows through the moon towards Earth. So the Earth feels that it's being sucked into the Earth. So, what if the ether is actually perpendicular to the ground? There's no way they would have detected it, even if their apparatus would have been able to detect it. So, right, according to me, according to how I understand general relativity and the rest of it, is that it's actually always blowing into the center of the Earth. So the ether is always blowing into the center of the Earth. Oh. Wow. Oh my God. 1 second, I'm sorry. This is a very important. Wow. Absolutely. Wow. 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 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. I'm sorry. 1 second. This is too important because I have a potential new owner that I need to answer to right away. Lots of emojis, 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 emojis. All right. La 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 la. All right. So if we need to update Brave. Okay. Anyway, so they neglected this option. So as you can see, if it blows in to the center of the planet, and their apparatus is on the surface, and it's suspended on Mercury, then it's always going to blow. Let's go back to, I guess, black. It's always going to blow right through the apparatus. It's never going to cause an interference pattern, even if it's there, even if the apparatus would have been able to detect the flow of ether. So there were two confounding reasons for their experiment to fail. And no one has noticed this. Wait, did I say two confound? Yeah. There's two confounding reasons. Even if there is ether, which is what I believe, there is ether or fabric or quantum foam, call it whatever you want. So even if they should have gotten a positive answer if the apparatus was good, they pointed it in the worst possible direction. They had it if they did not suspend it in the mercury, then they would have had maybe a little bit of an angle and they would have detected an interference pattern. But not only did their equipment not been able to get a detection because of the Lorentz transformation, specifically length dilation. Not only did they have that problem, but also they were pointing it perfectly perpendicular to the direction of detection. So they could never get a detection. There's no way they can get a detection. Whatever this ether was doing, it would do. I think I think it would have no influence on their equipment. If I'm not mistaken, am I mistaken? I don't know, but I think that it would not have caused a detection. So anyway, I think. Well, at least they didn't even consider it. They consider the possibility that it's blowing some way through the earth, always horizontally, to horizontal with respect to the planet. So I think that's one gaping hole in their experiment that they didn't think of, and no one has discussed it since. Now, can we detect? I'm working on a possibility of detecting because I think that the ether is blowing. My calculations, we did it. We did the calculations. We showed that the ether is blowing. It's at 1/10 the speed of light, at about 1/10 the speed of light, towards the center of the Earth, just because of the Earth gravity. Now, but there's other reasons for the ether to flow through Earth. The sun is dragging the ether through Earth towards the sun, and the moon is dragging ether towards the moon. So we have, the other galaxies. There's other reasons for the ether to flow any which way. So on net, I think so close to the center of this planet. I think my intuition is, and this is, you can calculate this from general relativity. GR does the same calculation, only that I believe that it's the ether slash, I mean, it is space that is flowing. It is the ether that is flowing, but this is what GR says. But Einstein and everybody else, they say it's curved geometry or curved space, which I think is nonsense. That is not the correct interpretation of GR. That's not GR. It's like you start out GR correctly with the thought experiment of the equivalence principle, but the equivalence principle says that gravity is similar to accelerating through space. That means we need the gravity is the same. Gravity, space must flow through us, just like as if we are accelerating through space. It's not curved space, it's flow of space, just like the ether would have. Anyway, so it would be interesting. So I am thinking about a new experiment, how to detect the speed of the ether. So I think my intuition, I haven't gone through the details. My intuition is you would need to, if this is the surface of the Earth, if you want to get, if you want to do a PhD in experimental physics, or if you want to get the Nobel Prize, or you can run this experiment, you can perfect this experiment. Here is how you would do it. So you would need to build a vertical particle accelerator. So this is like you would take any building, any building. I don't know how many floors you need for this, and somewhere on it you would attach a vertical particle accelerator. This is a vertical particle accelerator. What are you going to do with this particle? This is in order to detect the ether. This would detect the ether. This would detect the flow of space. 1 second. No, nothing interesting. Nothing interesting. Okay, this is to detect the flow. But is this to detect ether? Would you say this detects ether? I mean, I believe space is the ether. I would need to think. Let me introduce to you, Michelson. Yeah, I would need to. Let me introduce to you this experiment, how to detect what should be called the ether properly, and that is the flow of space itself. That is GR's fabric and so on. This is the ether. Will you be able to detect anything that has to do with light? That's a good question. I'm not sure. Let me. How much time? I just want to. We're 19 minutes in. Let me just introduce this experiment so that I just publish it, so people can start thinking about it and perfecting it. I'm sorry that it's all work in progress, and I don't have the final experiment. And if you want, you can talk to me. We can talk through. We can talk together and plan together for how to conduct this experiment. Anyway, so the way you would do it, right? You're trying to detect space falling in at 10% the speed of light. So how would you detect it? So you would run, right? So what you want to do is, right? You want to compare particles or waves going down, right? You're going to be firing it towards the ground because, right? We're assuming that space is flowing in at 10% the speed of light. So we want to detect, how would we detect this space? So anything that is falling at that rate, its clocks would run faster than anything moving at any other rate. Either you move slower or faster than this rate. This would be aging the fastest. This would be aging slower, and this would be aging slower. So this clock is retarded, moves slower, and this clock moves slower, and this clock moves faster. So the proper, just at 1/10 the speed of light, or just at the flow of space, you need to do the calculation much more accurately. I did it, I showed you the calculation. You would need to, and I showed you how I derived the speed of space. Let me just check that. Is anybody listening? Oh, nobody's listening. Yeah, I know this topic is very, very boring. No one cares about this topic. I know, fine. Anyway, so this is fast, this is slow, and this is slow. So at 1%, the center one is 10%. This is zero point 0.1, the speed of light, zero point 0.1 c. This is, so let's call this the speed of space. What are we going to call it? Let's call it v. So the speed of space is v. And this is faster than v. The clock is going to tick slower relative to the center one. And this v is a little bit slower. This is v minus. The clock will also tick slower. Why? This goes. Einstein, of course, agrees with us. So you have a ticking. This is two mirrors. This is Einstein's experiment of a moving photon clock. So you have light waving back and forth, and as space moves through it, it should slow down the clock. And it doesn't matter if it moves this way, it slows down. Any motion slows down the clock relative to space. So in my theory, we have everything is relative to ether. The ether is, we could say, is the fabric of our reality, because we as creatures we exist as waves of ether. We are literally ethereal creatures. My laptop is ethereal. It is a wave of ether. And my pants are, and the hair on my head, and the air in the room, and the sunlight, these are all waves of ether. So ether is the fabric, what we generally call the fabric of reality. So, and here I'm assuming this fabric of reality is moving down at the calculated approximately 10% the speed of light. Okay, so this means if a clock falls down, this is the clock. So if it falls down at 10%, right now, let's assume the clock is inside this accelerator. So I accelerate this clock. Now this clock, obviously it's going to be a particle. So we're going to take a particle and we're going to accelerate it to 10% the speed of light. That shouldn't be that difficult. These accelerators, well, I don't know if it should be difficult or not, because don't forget, this is a linear accelerator. It doesn't have to be. You could use a circular. It could be like any other particle accelerator. It doesn't have to be linear. I don't think it has to be linear. Yeah, I don't think it has to be linear. It just needs to be vertical. So in side view, it could either be this, similar to this, or a circle. As long as you conduct the experiment as it's moving vertically, the region of the experiment has to be vertical. So let's take this region. Let's say in this region it reaches the destined speed, and I need to finish up and leave. So in this region, it reaches the speed that we're aiming for. So we're aiming for 3 speeds or more, but basically we want something around 10% the speed of light, and some of it has to go a little bit faster, and some of it has to go a little bit slower, or significantly faster, significantly slower, and you want to plot. And you want to plot what? Okay, so you're throwing particles, you're accelerating particles down towards the ground. This could be part of a circle, so right. So and at this spot, it reaches the speed that you're aiming for. Now, this particle, you have to find a particle that's going to age. We're looking for a particle that you can detect its age, and you're going to measure the age entering. Let's do this region. Let's increase that special region where we're actually conducting the test. So as it enters the region, you're going to check its age, and as it exits the region, you test its age. Right? You don't have to test every particle. You're going to have many, many, many particles. Some of them you're going to test their age incoming. Some of them you're going to test their age outgoing. And statistically, we're assuming we're taking some average. The particles that, that I mean, it's fine. Okay, so now, what you're looking for is the aging, the delta A, how much did it age by? Now, my intuition, according to this, right, according to this experiment, is that at V equals 0.1%, 10% the speed of light, you should get, we said, it should age the most. This should be the fastest ticking clock. It should age the most. Whereas in other speeds, it should age less. And my intuition is that it's symmetric. That's my intuition, but you need to work out the math. You have all the information that you need. Anything you don't have, you can consult with me. I'll gladly, of course, consult. I know very little, so I'm just going with my Gedanken, with my thought experiments. So the way I see it, if you plot, what are we plotting? How much the particle ages over the speed. It's going to go through the speed is constant through this region. This region you don't want to accelerate or decelerate. You want it to have a constant speed as much as possible. One of these three speeds or many speeds, but around 10% the speed of light. And what I expect the maximum aging, so I expect the maximum age, it's going to look like either a parabola, some sort of distribution, where obviously the maximum aging, this is the maximum aging, and that's going to be at the 0.1% the speed of light. That's my prediction. And if this is true, this proves what to me is obvious. This is completely obvious, but I don't think anyone has ever performed this experiment. This looks obvious to me. I don't know. That's like that's my intuition. So you need to work out the details. You can talk to me, think about it. I need to think about it, but that's my intuition. So this is the delta age by how much it aged over this distance. And this is the velocity during this distance. It should be a constant velocity, either right. Some of it you're gonna run. I would first run at exactly. I mean, I would get. I mean, you should work out the exact prediction, the exact number that I said here. 0.1. It's not 0.1. I don't think it's 0.1. It's something in the ballpark, in the order of magnitude of 10% the speed of light. It could be significantly different, but I think it's in that order of magnitude. So the first step would be to calculate this as precisely as possible. The second would be I would start from that velocity to first get a confirmation that the prediction is correct, and then I would slow it down a little bit and get a plot. So let's magnify this. So I would get like a point here. I would get a few points. The first one, of course, should be this one. You should get a few points and basically get a plot like this. If you're not getting a plot like this, I would be extremely surprised. 1 second, let me get the message. 1 second, I have to visit friends tonight. 1 second. Where's the message? Come on. Okay, my phone. Come on. All right. Come on. Gotcha. All right. Message written. I need to run. I really need to run. But okay, so we discussed two things today. That's my prediction. If you think I'm wrong, let me know, and if you think I'm right, let me know. Uh, I'd be surprised if anyone picks it up because I don't even know why. Because everyone worships Einstein and everyone has forgotten about the theory of the ether. It's fine. It's fine. We're doomed either way, and World War III is we're on the cusp of World War III. You know, we unfortunately humanity deserves everything it's going to get. Unfortunately, very very sad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everyone. But if we survive this, and if you want to take this up, so first I want to get responses to the Michelson-Morley experiment. Do you agree with me or do you disagree? I'm really curious because this is no one has ever discussed it. Let me take a look. Has anyone ever discussed it? Let me see. Let me do the search first, and then I'll share the screen. So Michelson-Morley experiment vertical. Has anyone done a vertical test? Okay, let me share this with you. There's no personal information. Share. Okay. Michelson-Morley experiment vertical. The Michelson-Morley experiment conducted in an aim to detect the velocity of Earth with respect to the hypothetical luminiferous ether. Luminiferous ether. The original experiment was performed horizontally with light beams traveling perpendicular to each other. However, some theories and discussions have explored the possibility of a vertical variation of the. Oh, I thought next time maybe I should do some research before I come up with the yeah my I'm a genius. Oh my god. Some proponents of ether theory suggested that gravity or other flow could overwhelm and cancel out oh my god the expected ether flow in the horizontal direction, making it undetectable. However, the vertical direction might allow for detection of this flow of gravity, liquid gravity. Oh my God, people believe exactly my theory. Related concept, liquid gravity proposes that ether is controlled by matter and flows at right angles to the face of the Earth. Oh my God, this is my theory. Unaffected by rotation. This would not be detected by the original horizontal Michelson-Morley experiment, but the vertical version might be. But this is exactly my theory. People are taking my theory. They're stealing my theory. Experimental attempts. So Gruzenik experiment. Martin Gruzenik conducted an experiment in 2010 attempting to recreate the Michelson-Morley experiment in a vertical plane. His results showed slight fringe shifting, which he attributed to the weight of the granite stone used as base. However, critics argue that this could be due to the strain on the interferometer component rather than ether flow. This is really strange that they're saying it. I mean, if Einstein already proved that you're not, he didn't prove anything, sorry. Lorentz proved that you shouldn't feel anything. So it should cancel out, no? Anyway, Frank Pierce experiment. Frank Pierce performed a vertical Michelson-Morley experiment 2010, claiming to detect fringe shifting at the vertical plane. He had attributed this to liquid gravity or ether flow. However, his results were not widely accepted or replicated. Yeah, I mean, obviously it should not be detectable, but my experiment should be. So it's a good thing I discussed my experiment because no one is talking about my experiment. That's good. So at least that. So has anyone tried to detect? They call it liquid gravity. That's a good name. So, liquid, I gotta go. Liquid gravity detection experiment. Sorry, there's no autocomplete here. Let me just create a new one, do a search, and I'll share it with you in a moment. Okay, are we safe? Yeah, I think we're safe. Okay, so liquid gravity detection. There is no specific experiment mentioned in the provided search result that focuses on detecting gravity in liquids. Not gravity in liquids. Liquid gravity is not gravity in liquids. The results primarily discuss gravitational waves, and there no, it's not gravitational waves. It's just gravity. Gravity is not a wave. And their detection using laser. No, this is LIGO. No, no, I'm not talking about gravitational waves. No, no, no. I'm not looking for gravitation. I don't care. Gravity gradient. No, I don't know. No, that's not it. Gravity probe. No, no, no. LIGO. No. Liquid. No, no, no. Okay, so no one is discussing any test for liquid gravity. Great. Fantastic. So I offered you, you can do your PhD, you can get a Nobel Prize, we can share it, share the winnings, because the money's good. They give you about $1 million. So that's good. Anyway, I think that's it for today. Hopefully you learned to do a Google search before you start talking. No, I don't think so. I think it was good. You people saw the way I think, because I would not have shared it if I think it's a good thing to share. But the point is, Michelson and Morley didn't take this into consideration. That's my point. So, what else have we not taken into consideration in the past 100 plus years that science has gone down the shite, down the shiter? So that's my point. My point is, well, many points. One of them is science has gone completely sideways. This has to stop. It's, as John says, it's totally out of control. This is unacceptable behavior. We need to stop. We need to stop this behavior. The scientific community needs to stop. This is unaccepted. All right, everyone, I gotta run. Thank you very much. I'll be back later and I'll share some more great ideas that I have. Just hope I don't forget them. All right, see you later. Bye bye.